Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. TV streaming is about 70% follow-ups this week, so strap in, and honestly, movies is going to be even more. So let's do the damn thing, shall we? So starting on follow-ups, we have House of Dragon has been renewed for a second season. Surprise, surprise. What with, episode 1 being the biggest streaming release they've ever seen, this shouldn't be a shock. It is based exclusively on that information in and of itself. So the dip that they had from episode 1 to episode 2 did not affect their decision-making here. And why would it? It wasn't a major dip. It was a little bit of a dip, but it wasn't significant by any necessarily stretch of the imagination. So there is that. We have reasonably nerdy stuff that we're going to be getting into in a short this week as well. But as it stands right now, that's kind of where we're sitting with that. So next up, we are talking about the Netflix ad-supported tier. What many people were hoping was going to be a free option for Netflix, because that would make sense. If you're putting commercials in it, that should be paying the bills just fine, not my wallet. But that is not the case. It sounds like they're looking at a price model that is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 to $9 a month for the ad-supported tier for Netflix. Now, that is going to be ads, approximately 4 minutes of ads every hour, unless you happen to be watching a Netflix original movie or series, in which case they will not show you commercials as long as you are staying in that series. So if you are just going from episode to episode to episode, you will likely not be seeing any commercials, any ads. But if you're going from, let's say you want to watch an episode of Stranger Things, then you go watch an episode of Archive 81, you'll probably see an ad between those two, even though they're both Netflix series. You're changing from one series to the next. So I would imagine the vocabulary that they used with this announcement is not confusing. Either way, that is where it sits. When they officially land on a price point, we'll follow up once again. As we are moving on, we're now talking about one that has me very confused. Batman, the Caped Crusader, the animated series, Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, all of these amazing people who have been associated with this project, is in fact shopping the project around. It's a Batman animated series that is being shopped to other streamers outside of HBO Max, because HBO Max is going through their turmoil. They didn't have the room or the budget or anything to make this happen. So apparently other streamers are interested in hosting. How does this work? What are these rights that you can just take a Batman property and put it on any other streaming platform? That seems broken. I feel like this is potentially going to be a play to get HBO Max to see that there is an audience for this cartoon, so they then go, okay, I guess we can do your little Batman show. I don't see this actually landing on any of the other streamers, though. Again, it has been said that that Netflix and Hulu and the like have all been interested, have all voiced interest to the creative team in charge of this series, that they would like to host this streaming series. I don't know. Okay, moving on. Next, we're talking about a couple of shows that have wrapped on their principal photography. First up is Echo. This is the next in the Disney Marvel series that are coming to Disney+. Wrap on principal means that we have a post to finish with, so 6-8 months is when we're going to be seeing that. I am sure the announcement for when it's going to air has been, but I just now thought that I probably should have wrote that down, so my apologies, but they have wrapped on principal, so we're very shortly going to be seeing Echo. Next is Twisted Metal over on Showtime, starring Anthony Mackie. They have also wrapped on principal photography for season 1. So this one, I don't believe they have released the release schedule for it just yet. So when that happens, it should happen soon now that we've finished principal photography. There is probably going to be a much longer post-production process for this show because I would imagine it's very CG and things heavy. So interested when that gets announced, but it should be soon. Next is a follow-up on that Dark Matter series. Joel Edgerton, the man who is trying to beat Samuel L. Jackson and Steve Buscemi for most projects in a career. Joel Edgerton has been cast as the lead for the Dark Matter series, Blake Church's novel being adopted by Apple TV Plus. Breathe. Yeah, cast is growing. We're going to keep tabs. Moving right along, though. Next is Bad Batch. Apparently, and this one probably should have gone in rumors, but I don't know. Just the way in which it leaked was so unique. Bad Batch Season 2 has been kind of revealed as coming out September 28th. So the end of next month, or this month, depending on if you're watching it today or tomorrow. Yeah, very... The way this happened is somebody got into one of those chatbot conversations with Disney Plus Help. So they went to the help settings and whatever in their Disney Plus app and got into talking to a chatbot. And they asked the chatbot when the series is going to release. And the chatbot said, "Oh, it's going to be September 28th of 2022. Can I help you with anything else?" I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of it. So potentially it's a bug. Potentially it got programmed early. I don't know, but we'll keep tabs some more. And then speaking of Harley Quinn, like we were in the comic books section, Harley Quinn is now officially coming back for a 4th season, as they are almost done with, well, no, we're about halfway done with season 3. So I'm digging it. I think season 3 is a whole lot of fun, and I'm excited that season 4 is happening. So yeah, let's do that, shall we? That is what we have for follow-ups. Let's get into trailers. We have one new trailer. Yellowstone season 5 gave us a teaser, and all will be revealed according to this teaser. That's a big statement to make in this series. If you haven't watched Yellowstone, you've got 4 seasons of crazy cowboys to catch up on before season 5 launches. November 13th is when we will be getting the first episode of Yellowstone season 5. That is what we have for trailers. Let's get into regular news. Blockbuster new series on Netflix, which is super ironic because the reason Blockbuster doesn't exist is because Netflix does. So the fact that Netflix is doing a series, a fictional series, based on the final Blockbuster, which I think still exists somewhere in Ohio or something, that's pretty ironic. It is going to come out November 3rd. It will be 10 30-minute episodes, so it's going to be a sitcom. It's starring Randall Park and Melissa Fumero. I don't remember why I know the Melissa Fumero name, but I do know the Melissa Fumero name. I kind of really dig Randall Park. I think he's brilliant. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to say fun, but interesting nonetheless. That's what we've got on that one. Let's talk now about another new Netflix series starring Jeff Goldblum called Kaos. We have a synopsis for this one, and just what I was able to find out about this show, it's retelling Greek mythology through a modern lens. So super interesting. Also sounds like it's going to be a comedy. Goldblum, it has been cast as Zeus, and so the little blurb about the show is as follows. A darkly comedic and contemporary reimagining of Greek mythology, exploring themes of gender politics, power, and life in the underworld. So it sounds like, all right, so we're gonna get into this in a reasonably nerdy segment in a short on one of the short outlets sometime later this week, but It sounds like the Hollywood machine has started understanding we don't want to be preached at. If you want to include your personal politics, you want to do these certain things, that's okay so long as it is incorporated into a story in an appropriate way and you're not trying to beat us over the head with it. This sounds like it could be walking the line of beating us over the head with it and potentially being just a hilarious reason to watch Jeff Goldblum be awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna reserve my assumptions until we get a little bit closer to the release of this. But there is a bigger cast here as well. We have Janet McTeer as Hera, Cliff Curtis as Poseidon, David Thewlis as Hades, Killian Scott as Orpheus, Debi Mazer as Medusa, Daniel Lawrence Taylor will be Theseus, Misia Butler, Leila Farzad, Nabhaan Rizwan, Rakie. I am not saying these names right, and I am apologizing for it. Rakie Ayola, Aurora Perrineau, and Stanley Townsend, with a special cameo from Billie Piper, who is big for a number of reasons, not the least of which Penny Dreadful and Doctor Who. So yeah, sounds like a pretty big and ensemble-ish cast that at the center of it is Jeff Goldblum, who is in and of himself the reason to watch this. So that sounds pretty awesome. That is what we have for regular ass news. Let's get into TV streaming suggestions. Our suggestion for this is, like I have said a number of times throughout this episode, Harley Quinn Season 3 is happening right now. You should be watching it. That is the suggestion for TV streaming because it's scratching the itch that the Venture Brothers left. I mean, you can go back and watch Venture Brothers. That is also on HBO Max. It did not get cut. But if you have watched Venture Brothers half a dozen to a dozen times, like myself, then you can probably recite those episodes by heart. This is new stuff that is in a similar vein, that can actually use some of the superheroes that they were parodying in the Venture Brothers. It's a little bit of a different kind of scratch, but it's still the same itch. Does that make sense? Yeah, so much fun. Go check out Harley Quinn. That's your suggestion. And movie section. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.